I wonder, do you feel like, so, like something I think is interesting is the inevitable temporality of a nation or an empire. I think that it's the average length or duration of empire is around 500 years based off of what I've read.
Good.
Um,
Good.
and I think the idea that like you assume as an American
Good.
that just like this is it. We're always going to be on top, and we're the best. We're the greatest. Hoorah! Which simultaneously in that same TED talk I was watching, the percentage of 18 to 35-year-olds that are considered proud to be American or extremely proud was the language used was under 20%.
Good.
And then the people over 55 was much higher. It was like over 50%. So like the morale of young Americans seems to be diminishing. I wonder from your perspective, living the life that you've had, if you feel as though you've witnessed any pivotal transitions, maybe like getting off the gold standard, for example, or maybe I don't know, Kennedy assassination or some type of moment where it's kind of like, oh, that was a inflection point, and things kind of went from America really being
No.
the greatest country on the planet, or it's obviously a subjective concept, to something that's like, oh, we kind of made a shift, and if we keep going in this direction, um,
Uh,
you know,
uh,
the empire will inevitably fall, or maybe
that.
Well,
something very uncomfortable for the citizens.
there's a lot to deconstruct there. First
Yeah.
of all, chapters begin and chapters end in any person's life and in any system's life. The post-World War II order had some very good things to it, and it also gave birth to some very negative things. So nature will not support the continuation of that which is ultimately unjust. And so, yes, the very fact that it had become an empire, right, certainly an economic empire, could not stand. Now, the fact that young people do not feel the hope that older people do is totally understandable,
Yeah.
because for those of us who are older, we remember a time when you marched in the street and it made a difference.
Yeah.
We remember a time when we marched in the street and it ended the war. We remember a time when we marched in the street and it led to desegregation. You have something like Black Lives Matter, which was the largest protest movement in the history of the United States, and it did not lead to one fundamental legislative change. That's how sewn up the system is. Okay? So I understand young people not feeling hope, not feeling an allegiance to a system. I understand these young people say, what has global capitalism ever done for me? They look at the same people their age in other advanced democracies who have health care, who have tuition-free college and tech school, who get paid family leave and subsidized childcare and guaranteed living wage. So they're not wrong to say, don't tell me how great it is here. The issue is to remember, other generations didn't owe you anything so much as every generation is dealing with what it deals with. Fix it.
Yeah.
It's an attitudinal shift. We have to change it. Now, I do think the Kennedy assassination, the fact that we never totally got the scoop on what happened, I think it did make a difference. I think the fact that Gerald Ford pardoned Nixon made a difference. But the largest issue was this explosion of trickle-down economics, a complete shift in the economic paradigm, by which, as I said before, democracy was basically replaced as our organizing principle, including economic democracy, including any idea that this country is supposed to belong to all of us, was replaced with this trickle-down economic theory where people were totally bamboozled into thinking that if all we did was to create policies that enabled greater wealth for the stockholder class, that will benefit everyone because they will become job creators, those newly rich, and the money will trickle down and lift all boats. Well, now we see what a pernicious lie that was. It has led to a $50 trillion transfer of wealth away from 90% of the American people. And it has done what you should have realized it would do, because their business model was never job creation, it was job elimination and union busting and union demonizing and everything for the stockholders at the expense of other stakeholders, such as the workers or communities, the environment, et cetera. Then there was the monopolization. You asked one of the pivotal points, inflection points, the passage of the Telecommunications Act in 1996, whereby just a few corporations were able to just monopolize information. You know, when I was growing up, the same company was not allowed to own the TV station and the newspaper and the radio station because it was codified into law that there was a guarantee of the diversification of information. Right. This is destroyed in independent news, et cetera. All of these things, by the way, I think we're at a point where a critical mass of us understand all this. Mm-hmm. You know, this is not, I think we've really reached a new point. You meant when you and I first started talking and I said, isn't it interesting, this whole idea that your thoughts create your reality? We're now at a point spiritually, metaphysically, psychologically, and politically. The era of data collection is over. We get it. Enough of us get it. Enough of us get it that we don't need more data analysis. We need more courage. And we need more work on, just like when you do yoga or exercise to prepare your body to be strong enough, you do spiritual practice, mindfulness, prayer, meditation, whatever, to prepare your character, to prepare your nervous system, to take on the situation that we're faced with. But like I said before, other generations took on slavery. They took on the institutional suppression of women. They took on the Gilded Age. They took on segregation. We have got to toughen up. And we have got to, I think, not only identify the powers of the problems in the past, but identify with the problem solvers. We need to show up. This is not a time for men to act like boys or for women to act like girls. A real profound level of maturity is called for now. Psychological maturity, emotional maturity, intellectual maturity, political maturity. And we need to stop coddling in ourselves as well as in each other. Oh, are you okay today? Are you okay today? We need to say to each other, what great thing are you planning today and how can I help? That needs to become the tenor of our conversations.